Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan. So I know I'm a little late in making this Joe Rogan response video. I was gone the past few days at SoCal Veg Fest with Angie, had a great time meeting a lot of you guys, but I couldn't resist responding to this Joe Rogan debunking of the Game Changers because I've responded to so many of Joe Rogan's anti-vegan nonsense that I just had to respond to this one as well, make my set complete. Well, anyway, I don't think he intended to make a debunking of the Game Changers. It all kind of started innocently enough when his guest, Cameron Hanes, said this about a certain NFL vegan player.
People have different success rates with being a vegan, but Cam Newton, who is a quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, big dude, 6'6", 250, 260, he went vegan and he cannot get healthy. He's been injured, but since just been on a decline, and it's like almost hand in hand with the change into vegan.
Wow, I mean, is that supposed to be some solid cause and effect proof there? I mean, let's get real. The truth of the matter is football is a very dangerous sport. And let's look at this list of currently injured NFL players. The list is gargantuanly long, and to say that any of these players are injured because of their diet is completely nuts.
Double-digit sacks for Derek Morgan. He had his best season of his career.
Titans on their way to the playoffs.
I mean, talk about cherry picking. This guy just selected the one vegan NFL player that he knew of that had injury problems and completely ignored athletes like Derek Morgan, shown here in the Game Changers, as well as the other dozen or so athletes on his team, the Tennessee Titans, who followed him on a plant-based diet.
Well, you know that guy, Dr. Sean Baker. He's the advocate of that carnivore diet. He marks all these people that were originally in that Game Changers documentary that James Cameron put out.
Yeah.
A ton of them quit before the movie came out, and they had to pull them out of the movie because they were vegan, and because of health reasons they had to quit. Right. It's an indoctrination movie.
Okay, so that's what I thought. They're talking about one specific athlete in particular. One does not equal a whole ton. I don't know why you guys have to lie like that. I mean, didn't you think we'd be able to do the math here? Yeah, they're talking about Tim Sheaf. It's well known that Tim Sheaf, who was vegan when they filmed him for this movie, they edited him out because he stopped being vegan. He said for health reasons, which he blamed on his vegan diet, but as I've covered many times on the show, he wasn't following simply just a regular vegan diet. Most vegan diets don't include, say, 35-day water fasts, strict adherence to raw vegan diets, and worst of all, drinking urine, your own urine and the urine of others for several years. Maybe one of those things may have caused his health to decline, but it wasn't because of him being vegan.
And it's extremely biased.
Well, Joe's an expert in being extremely biased because it's a known fact that the #1 sponsor of his show is a meat company.
It's not focusing on all of the various problems that people have. It's only focused on the positive aspects of it.
What are you talking about there, Joe? There is no known all the various problems that people have. Sure, yeah, there's cases like Tim. You know, people did extreme things like starving themselves, staring into the sun, and drinking urine. But I've been vegan about twice as long as Tim was. I've been vegan 9 years now. I'm about twice his age. I don't have any of these various problems that people have, and I'm just one anecdotal case, but you can look at the American Dietetics Association, who have reviewed the peer-reviewed literature out there and say that vegan and vegetarian diets are safe, adequate, and healthful for people in all phases of life.
And distorting the reality of those positive messages, particularly like the strongman who's on a load of steroids.
Yeah, they forget that part.
They forget that part.
All right, so here they're referring to Patrik Baboumian, who was shown many times, featured in the Game Changers. And I've heard Patrik deny on the Rich Roll podcast that he does not take steroids, but has always been accused of it because of his great gains. But let's not even worry about that right now. Let's look at what a hypocrite Joe Rogan is, because he himself takes drugs to enhance his body and strength.
Yeah, testosterone replacement therapy, hormone replacement therapy. I started doing all that when I was 40. This is 2018. Hormone replacement therapy exists for a reason. And that reason is it makes you feel way better. It makes your body work way better. You can avoid a host of ailments and conditions that are related to your body breaking down due to age. First it was cream, and then it became injections. It takes a little bit of time to figure out what works best. and then you get to a point where you have the hormone levels of a healthy young man.
So you heard Joe there admit that he takes testosterone, gets injections so his body and strength and recovery will be on par with a man in his late 20s, early 30s. Well, let's look at myself as a counterexample to Joe, because him and I are both the same age. We were both born in the same year. I've never taken any testosterone of any kind, never taken any steroids ever. And if you look at my testosterone levels, my T levels are those of a man in his late 20s, early 30s. They're like off the charts for a person my age. And again, I've done nothing other than eat a vegan diet for the past 9 years.
And then all these other athletes, like these you're not talking, and even the strongman, he's not like an elite strongman.
This will be the heaviest weight that anyone has ever carried on their shoulders. Patrik will be attempting 555 kilos, which is 1,224 pounds. This is an official Guinness World Record.
Or really, Joe, I mean, this is a Guinness World Record being broken here, so that's not enough in your mind to qualify Patrik as an elite strongman, really.
You're not talking about some, like when I had Robert Oberst in here,
Right.
He's like, everybody eats the same shit. He's like meat and rice. Like they eat meat.
Yeah.
Like all those strong men eat the same thing. The real strong men.
So let me present to everyone a fake strongman setting a Guinness World Record. I mean, what complete nonsense, Joe. I mean, I challenge you to get any of your real meat-eating strongmen to break Patrik's record. And they could take steroids too if they want. Until then, just shut up with this nonsense.
A very repeated number of 84% of vegans and vegetarians end up going back to eating meat at some level.
Yeah, right before they die.
So I know exactly what study Joe's referring to here, and it doesn't say anything what he thinks it's saying. This is from the Humane Research Council from 2014. And let's look at this chart here on the left-hand column. These are former vegans and vegetarians, and roughly 75% of them quit before hitting their third year. However, what Joe's not going to tell you is that over here in the right column are current vegans and vegetarians. And as you see here, the vast majority of them, 75% of them, have been vegan or vegetarian for over 3 years. And over half of these people, 58%, have been vegan or vegetarian for over 10 years. So nowhere in this report does it say that 75% or 84% of all vegans and vegetarians quit within 3 years. That's just complete nonsense. And let's continue on to some more nonsense.
Folks, we're omnivores. We're omnivores. We exist better. We are more healthy on an animal and vegetable diet.
I've heard Joe repeat this meat industry funded party line many times without ever offering any science to back it up, ever sharing, say, a health organization that agreed with this position. This is just complete dogma. However, if you look at the world's largest organization of health professionals, the American Dietetics Association, they say quite the opposite, that those who abstain from meat have better results when it comes to not dying from heart disease, better results when it comes to LDL cholesterol, blood pressure, and type 2 diabetes.
But if you want to be healthy, just eating only vegetables is a hard road.
Just eating vegetables? Like, who's advocating for that? No, we're talking about whole food plants. And more reason, Joe, why I want to send you a copy of our book, Keep It Carb Baby, Whole Food Plants. Yes, there's vegetables in here, but there's also fruits, there's grains, there's legumes. This is the stuff that's going to give you all the benefits that I just referred to there from the World Health Organization.
All of our agriculture, when they talk about greenhouse gases, we talked about this the other day, 9% of all greenhouse gases is because of agriculture. Less than half of that is because of meat. Less than half of that is because of beef.
I'm sure that's Joe's dream that all of agriculture accounts for just 9% of greenhouse gas emissions. And this data, I've covered it before, comes from the United States' EPA website. If you want to see a more accurate account of not just agriculture, but animal agriculture's role in greenhouse gas emissions, check out this report from the United Nations FAO Committee. And it states that over 14% of greenhouse gas emissions are due to animal agriculture. But Joe thinks he has a way to get zero emission meat.
Elk?
Yeah.
How much is that?
Oh, man.
It's zero.
Yeah.
You have if you just eat elk, you have way less impact on the greenhouse gases than you do if you're a vegetarian. And that's a
Right.
fact.
So Joe's just speaking from his multi-millionaire privilege here, feeling that he's doing the environment good, zero emissions by hunting elk. Well, the fact of the matter is that's not a sustainable option because there's only 1 million elks estimated to be alive in North America right now. And given the fact that Americans consume over 90 million cows, just cows alone, I'm not even counting pigs and chickens in here, you'd wipe out the entire elk population in less than a year.
Those monstrous
Rabbits.
combines,
Yeah,
those
rabbits,
indiscriminate.
deer fawns,
Yeah.
mice.
You're not supposed to have enormous fields filled with fucking corn.
Right.
Oh no, not the dreaded combine harvester argument. Apparently Joe doesn't watch any of our videos or else he would have learned our response by now and known that he's completely wrong. And I'm tired of repeating it over and over again. And so instead of doing so, I'm just going to play back to you what we said last time to him.
And it was you and I know who these crops are really grown for.
Yes.
You're talking about the corn and the soybean.
Yes. So if you look at actual U.S. domestic corn use, let's check out this graph here. The big blue chunk at the bottom, that goes to feed animals, livestock. And the next biggest chunk is that huge yellow bit. That's for fuel, for ethanol, for cars.
So it looks like less than 5% actually goes to not food, but the food is even food, seed, and industrial uses.
Combined. So
it's like nothing.
Very few.
Drop in the bucket.
Yeah, hardly any corn goes to actually feed humans, let alone vegans. So this argument sucks. And furthermore, there's been studies that I've shown that have proven that most of these field animals just don't stand there when they see this loud, noisy combine harvester coming at them. They're smart. They get out of harm's way, just like they'd get out of your way if you tried to chase after a rodent or a rabbit. So it's just more complete nonsense. Joe Rogan is just stubborn. He doesn't want to learn. He's just repeating the talking points from the meat industry who funds him, and it's just doing a complete disservice of spreading more anti-vegan misinformation to his extremely large platform. So that's why I find it necessary for me to respond to Joe's videos. Even if I'm a couple days late to it, I want the information, the right information, the scientifically backed information to get out there to everyone. So share this video with people who believe this kind of nonsense from Joe Rogan and let them know that he's just full of it. He's just dogmatic and repeating meat industry talking points. So share this video, like this video. Remember, let's try to make a difference. Let's vote vegan. Yes, I'm running for City Council in Long Beach, District 2, on the Humane Party platform. If you live in Long Beach, you can vote for me next year in March. And if you live anywhere in the United States, you can contribute to my campaign. Please, everyone, go check out my website, ryanlum.net.